Ladies and gentlemen, CC Cooper, ladies and gentlemen.
Happens every time. I'm so little. How are you guys? Good. Thanks for coming out. So yeah, I am a comedian, and give a big hand for everybody that you see tonight. They're all super. So it's really fun being a comedian, but I got to tell you, by day I'm a corporate gal. And so it's really hard, once your corporate friends find out that you're a comedian, they're like, oh, I want to come see your show. I'm like, okay, but it ain't kindergarten, okay? Because there's going to be some cussing. There's going to be some titty touching. I mean, anything goes. And they will look at me and be like, what? Because I always see you as this good little Christian girl. And I'm like, nope. Bad Christian girl. Which was evident once when I was sitting out amongst the masses. And I yelled up at the guy who had the mic, and I was like, you ain't funny. Tell a dick joke. My pastor threw me out of church so quick, let me tell you. Oh, God. So that's what kind of night this is going to be. And anybody here single? Single ladies? All the single ladies? I guess this is like the sign for single ladies, because you ain't got no ring on it, right? So anyway, so I am single, and and it's okay with me at this point in my life, because I've kind of figured out how to be single, and to figure out how to deal with men and all this other stuff, and that was just become a lesbian. So I'm kidding. I'm not really a lesbian. Sorry, ma'am. But I do like to sometimes pretend to be a lesbian, because men dig it. Did you guys know that? Men dig lesbians. And you know why? Because in the back of their seedy little minds, you know what they're thinking? Exactly, threesome. And so I'm going to share a secret with you guys, because most of the women in this room, myself included, we would participate in a threesome if approached the right way. And when I say approach the right way, it's got to be like Brad Pitt on one side and Denzel Washington on the other. I'm down with that. Oh God, so it's so hard. It's so hard dating. Who here? It's single ladies. Clap. It's hard out there dating, isn't it? But seriously, I like. For me, I find that it's me that's writing my name and number on the men's room wall. And sometimes I've even taken to praying. So when my phone rings, I just start praying, God, please let this be a booty call. God, please let this be a booty call. And sometimes, when I'm at desperate times, I'll stand out on the corner and I'll be like, I got candy. I'll do whatever it takes to lure them into my house. I ain't proud. But I just decided dating is hard. That's why I'm a whore. Because that's so much easier. It's just wham, bam, thank you, man. Oh, God. So, do we have any parents out here? Woo! How many kids do you have? Two? Three? Did somebody just say 6?
1. 5.
Seriously? You just pounded them out. Oh my God. I never had maternal instincts. And my mom used to always try to make me have these maternal instincts. She would always just give me these babies and just be like, just hold this baby. Your instincts will kick in. So I'd hold the baby and I'd be like, Mom, I'm not feeling it. And after 2 seconds, the only instinct that would kick in was my instinct to go to the bar. So I would be like, Mom, I'm not feeling it. Happy hour's in 5 minutes, gotta go. And I would just throw this baby back at her. So she finally decided to just kind of give up on me. But she's like, one more time, just try it one more time. Hold this baby, hold it. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not feeling it. So I went to throw the baby back and she's like, hold it. This one is yours. So it's obvious I didn't have a planned pregnancy. I just got caught by those 2 things in the air that seem to make women pregnant. Yep, my legs. get married and stuff, and then all of a sudden my husband became impotent. And anybody out here? No, I'm sorry, you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to share your shame. But he became impotent, and I couldn't understand why. And then it dawned on me that saying, "You are what you eat," is true. Because he would always eat that same cereal every morning, nut and raisin honey. So I would try things. Like I would put yeast in the milk because I figured if it worked on bread, taking the Hardee's for a rise and shine breakfast, and I'm like, get it. No. So we ended up getting a divorce, and it was one of those like love-hate relationships anyway. It was like I loved the money, hated him, loved the house, hated him, loved the sex, wasn't with him. Because I'm a whore. So I ended up just having just the one child. So that's why I was so shocked when you said 6. I'm like, wow, I don't even know if I'd be breathing. But I just had the one child. And my neighbor lady used to always tell me, you gotta have more kids. Your kids need siblings. And this was not the type of woman you need to take advice from. Because she had like 5 babies, 5 different daddies. I mean, even her triplets had different daddies. So, no, thank you. Keep your advice to yourself and your legs closed, for God's sake. But anyway, but then as my daughter started getting older, I started thinking, oh God, maybe she could use some siblings. So I decided to look into adoption. But I just couldn't find a nice Guatemalan family that would take her. So, Mother of the Year, right here. Which Mother of the Year, because when she went to move out, I sat her down to have like that motherly talk with her, and I sat her down and I was like, now honey, I know there's a lot of things you got away with as a kid that mommy didn't know about. Do not come back as an adult and tell me about them now, because there is no expiration date on this can of whoop ass. So she's grown and she's out on her own. She has a daughter of her own too. I have a granddaughter. And love her. She's biracial. And I only mention that because it dawned on me that, so if she grows up and marries a white man and has a baby, and then that baby grows up and marries a white man and has a baby, I'm just assuming they're all daughters, just go with it. And so on and so on. And so then generations down the line, there will be a family of little, like, blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids on Ancestry.com looking up their ancestors, and they'll go way back, and then there'll be me. I love the thought of that. Can you imagine going back, looking back at your ancestry and being like, what? That would probably be the response, what? Then they'd be like, oh, now all of this stuff makes sense. Why the cops always stopping me. When I'm weaving down the road. Oh, God, so that's fun. So, I am originally from New York. Any New Yorkers here? Woo! Yeah. Oh, you're from New York?
Yes.
Okay. You know what? I'm sorry, this is a friend of mine, and I just always react to him. He always makes me react, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm at work, goddammit! Now I'm gonna touch myself. I don't know why I did that. Oh, because I told you guys there'd be some titty touching. It's gonna just be random. I'm at work. So, oh God, I lost my place. Okay, so corporate America, working a day job. Anybody ever here have a manager that they just absolutely hated? We've all had them, right? So many years ago, I had this boss. I absolutely hated him. And every time he would come and ask me to do something, in order to make myself feel better, in the back of my head, I would just say, fuck off. Because it made me feel good. So one day, he came and asked me to do something, And I went to do this thing in the back of my head, but somehow the words grew wings and came flying out of my mouth. So I'm standing there, I'm like, awkward. But the next day, I was like standing on the unemployment line, and there was this guy in there trying to pick me up. Well, I think he was trying to pick me up. He asked me if I had a pencil, and I was like, no, but I got candy. So that time it worked, and single ladies, here's a word of advice. The unemployment line ain't the best place to become a man, because he ain't got no job. Oh, God, learned that the hard way. So, anybody here ever get a job through the unemployment agency? They send you out on like the shittiest jobs. So they sent me out to this place to like be a bill collector. You know, as if I was paying my bills. Like, how effective would I be? And be like, yeah, I can't pay my bills because I ain't got no money. Girl, I hear you. Go on. You don't have to pay. He's like, I understand. I'm in the same boat. But you get all these interesting stories people will call up, excuse me, with excuses of why they can't pay. And I had this one woman that called in. Oh my God, she was so pathetic. She was like this little mousy sounding woman, and she's all like, I'm sorry, ma'am, that I haven't been able to pay my bill because I've been in this cult and I just got out and I'm going through deprogramming. And I'm like, oh wow, that sounds like some scary shit. This is Satan. And so she starts freaking out. She's like, ma'am, I think the devil's talking to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, ma'am, calm down. You said you were going through deprogramming. Everything's going to pay them the money. And so at this point, she is like really seriously freaking out and stuff. And you know, it just happens to be my luck. That was the call they were monitoring. Guess where I was the next day. Oh God, that was so fun. I know where I was before I was so rudely interrupted. But anyway, I'm originally from New York. I'll go back to that. But I've lived in Minnesota for like a really long time. But when I first got here, it was really hard, like adjusting, because you're still kind of in that like New York state of mind and stuff. And one day I was like downtown and I was like frustrated and I couldn't figure out where I was going. So I just decided to get on the subway and go home. So I went down these stairs and I ended up in this basement. And so that began my life as a crack whore. And I'm kidding, I never did crack. But it was just frustrating. But I've lived in Minnesota for a long time now, right? And I've lived here for so long that one day I'm afraid I'm gonna wake. God damn it, KJ was right. It is hot in here. Sorry, it is hot. Everybody blow towards me. Like be like my fan. Can you guys do that, please? I ain't got no dick. Oh God, I got such a body now. You know, but no, seriously, I've lived here a long time, and I'm just afraid that one morning I'm going to wake up and discover that I've turned into this little Scandinavian woman. No, seriously, because for example, I was at the church potluck, sitting next to my friend Marcia, and I'm like scooping out the hot dish, and I just turned to her and I'm like, oh, cripes, you think we got enough food, you know? I don't know where that voice came from. And then, when I was back in New York for a family reunion, and we was having this big dinner, and I had to make the gumbo, and so I made the gumbo, and my sister's eating it, and she's like, this tastes funny, what did you put in here? Oh, tater tots. So now my my family's concerned, and I got that going on and stuff. But it's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. Oh God! So I went through a midlife crisis in my 30s. Anybody here ever go through a midlife crisis? Okay, I cannot believe that I'm sitting up here talking about how hot I am, right? And you guys, can you see the sweat? I turn over this way, and there's a woman over there like fanning herself, right? She's like throwing it in my face. She's like taunting me. Can you help us, sister? I'll pass it to him. He'll pass it.
It's a checkbook.
Better. Oh God, it is hot up here. I'm sweating like hell. But anyway, so where was I at? I was talking about tater. That was done. I got the big laugh. Remember that? Oh God, I don't know. I love talking about my tits. Well, and this is so weird. This is so weird because Chris, I swear to God, when you did this whole thing, that was my thing. I always do a joke about my nips because they never. When you get older, they really literally like this bra is a good bra because it's not letting my nipples point through. But Chris is right because one day my daughter and I. We were sitting there talking, I had on this tight sweater and a fucked up bra that let my nips pop up. And my daughter's looking at me, she's like, Mom, what's going on? And literally it's like one nipple's down here, one nipple's up here. And then you men don't have that problem. It's not like you're walking down the street and somebody's like, dude, your balls. And you'd be like, oh shit. You guys don't have that problem. So which is why I decided, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a boob job. And I'm not gonna get them bigger, I'm not gonna get them smaller. I'm just gonna have them put back where they belong. This is so awesome. Like I'm literally at work feeling myself out. Can you imagine being in corporate America and going into your manager's office and be like, yo, so I got something to say. That would not fly. Oh God, that would not fly. So
midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. No, you are good. Thank you. Because there's a joke behind that. Ladies and gentlemen, ISIS. No, oh yeah, thank you though. Thanks for that. I'm old as shit because I can't remember shit. I'm surprised I'm even still in the business. But anyway, so I went through a midlife crisis, okay? And it's one of those times when you go through this whole cathartic moment when you evaluate your life, where have you been, what have you done, what are you gonna do, and all blah, 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 all that stuff. So one thing I discovered about myself was I look good in leather. So I went out and bought myself all this leather stuff. And then I was like, what else goes good with leather, other than me? And I was like, a motorcycle. Okay, so now you know who the bikers are in the room. So let's see, so the next thing we gotta do is try to identify the whores. Because I know I ain't the only one. So I went out and got myself this motorcycle, and let me tell you guys, there is nothing like taking it out in the country and open that sucker up and just riding with, like, the wind is in your face, blowing your hair all over, your cares are all back in the city, and you feel like you're in heaven. And I'm like, of course I'm in heaven. I'm sitting on my own 600-pound vibrator. So then I started reading Biker Chick magazine, and that was awesome because like Cosmopolitan magazine, they ask you these stupid things in their quizzes. They're like, you changed the color of your hair. Did your man notice? Like, who cares? But in Biker Chick magazine, they'll ask you stuff like, at what RPM did you find your G-spot? That's news I could use. So anyway, so I do ride a motorcycle, and I do absolutely love it. And do we have any workout fanatics here? I know I'm giving you a stink eye right now, right? Oh God, I hate working out. I hate working out. And back when I wanted to like lose some weight, I decided to do like a lot of people do and just go to the doctor and find out about like stomach stapling and the bypass surgery thing. And so he sat down and he was explaining to me, first he explained to me the whole stomach stapling thing, and I was like, oh, can I just get a paper clip? And then he explained like the whole bypass surgery and how that all works. So I was like, oh, that sounds worse. So I decided to go with the bypass, which was to bypass both of those options and take my fat ass to the gym. And I hated it. But then at one point, I was on the scale and I realized I reached my goal weight, but then I put my other foot on the scale. I was like, holy shit. So, it's a lovely thing. But anyway, but back when I was talking about like this whole lesbian thing, you know what's so cool about it? Not only like getting all the men to hit on you, but the lesbians. I'm just kidding. But I have never had more men try to, oh wait, this one time, I went to this costume party dressed as a giant remote control. Let me tell you, all night long, the men could not keep their hands off me. It was fast forward, rewind, fast forward, rewind. I'm not going to tell you where I put the play button. Oh, God. So I'm a traveler. I love to travel. Anybody here a traveler? Not. So I was in Mexico, and, excuse me, my allergies are off the chart. So I was in Mexico, and this resort that I was staying at was beautiful. The grounds was beautiful. And so one morning I got up and I was getting out and I'm going like, let's go check out the city. And I'm walking, I'm like, God, these grounds are really beautiful. And the gardeners are out there working. And I'm like, oh, look, here all the gardeners are Mexican. Oh, that's right. And so then there was some roofers. And I'm like, oh man, they got all Mexican roofers. Oh, fuck, man, that's right. So then I go into a convenience store, the OXXO store, which is like a 7-Eleven, or I should say Super America for those of us who live in the Midwest. But so I go into the convenience store and I go up to the cashier and I'm like, "Do you speak English?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "God damn it! When are you gonna learn to speak the language?" Oh yeah. So that was an eye-opening experience, if you will. So. What else can I say, you guys? I told you guys I'm originally from New York. And anybody here ever been to New York? Yeah, you ever been to Central Park? So you see all those nasty pigeons that they have there? Oh my God, they're so disgusting, aren't they? I hate them. But I had taken this friend of mine to New York who had never been to New York, and we're walking through Washington Square Park where most of the pigeons are, and she's walking through there and she's like kicking at the pigeons, looking just like a tourist. I'm like, girl, do you want to get mugged? But anyway, so she's kicking at all these pigeons and stuff. And she's like, oh my God, these pigeons are so disgusting. In Minnesota, we have these beautiful ducks and stuff. Don't you guys have ducks here in Minnesota? In New York? And I'm like, yeah, for dinner. But, okay, so anyway. I don't care, just like Chris said, as long as I get a reaction. I don't care if it's a you ain't funny, it's a fuck you, I don't care. I'm the one with the mic and sweating like a dog. Can you guys see the sweat coming down? It's messing up my makeup.
You cold beer.
Can you bring me some? Oh, thank you, you're right. I should take it off. I mean, I ain't got no shame because I'm a whore. There's men in here. You know what would be awesome, being a whore? If I owned my own porn shop, right? Because then I'd have like all these men, and that's already horny and within my reach. You know what my store uniform would be? A mattress strapped to my back. I think that would be awesome. Oh God, so anyway. So like I said, I am originally from New York. I'm just gonna check this because last night I kind of went over and people were like, I'm so tired, I'm leaving. I felt like I was a pitcher. I walked like 3 people. So it was crazy. So anyway, so I am from New York. I'm from a small town in New York. And the town is so small that my baby sister and I had to share the same imagination. Oh, I love you. I love you. Thank you. To Rick. The man of my dreams and nightmares. No. I'm just kidding. I love him. He's wonderful. So my baby sister and I had to share the same imaginary friend. And I think he liked her better. But 'cause I was a bitch. And I think because I wouldn't do him. I didn't know how to be a whore then. But, yeah, you know, so living in a small town, anybody here like did a lot of drinking in high school? Don't be shy. What happens in a comedy club stays in a comedy club until we leave. But whatever. So I did a lot of drinking in high school, and that's what people do in small towns. Anybody here from a small town? Oh, yeah. So did you do a lot of drinking in your small town? She threw you under the bus, like she just threw you under the bus, which means she did. I know how the game is played. No, so we used to do a lot of drinking, and I'll tell you, getting alcohol back in those days was easy as pie. Okay, you didn't have to like stand outside and be like, yo, can you go in here and buy me some beer? No, you know what we had to do? Write a note from our parents that said they wanted some liquor. And we'd go into the liquor store with a note and say, my mom wants some booze. You guys, I am not making this up. And they would take this note and they would be like, okay, let's see. Mad Dog 2020. Night Train. Wild Irish. Oh, classy lady. But that's all we had to do. It was hilarious. I mean, when I look back at it now, I can't believe how easy it was. And that started my slide into alcoholism. Because it was easy to get. But then I was like grown up and I was like, oh, I gotta stop, I gotta work, I gotta make some money. But anyway, that's not a joke because you guys didn't laugh, so I'm not gonna say that again. Oh God, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here, you guys. You guys have really been a fantastic audience. But that's my liquor store guy. I love him. Oh, now I really sound like I'm an alcoholic, doesn't it? When I know the sound of my liquor store guys, woo! Oh, God, so I'm gonna get ready to get out of here, but I'll tell you guys. So, like I said, I am originally from New York, and I'll tell you how I ended up in Minnesota. You know what? Excuse me for 1 second. I'm gonna have to snort. I'm gonna turn around, and I'm gonna take the microphone down because it's disgusting. But I gotta do it so I can talk right. So hang on. You guys heard that anyway, huh? Okay, so I grew up in New York, and all while I was growing up, I was a thick sister, if you will, and I had a lot of junk in my trunk, and I was always like, oh, you know, like, how can I get rid of this ass? How can I get rid of this ass? And growing up in New York, all I ever heard about Minnesota was Minnesota, you freeze your ass off. You guys have a wonderful night.
CC Cooper, ladies and gentlemen.